Alright, so the purpose of today's video is basically to run through why I like The Curse. If you haven't seen The Curse, there will be minor and some major spoilers, but we're only 3 episodes into a 10-episode miniseries, so if you're kind of on the fence about the show, I hope you watch this video and you're sold. If you have seen the show, welcome. Hopefully this serves as a really good discussion about what I think is one of the most interesting shows on TV. I did an episode 1 breakdown. We're up to episode 3 now, and I just want to say that I think this is the most interesting show currently on TV. I can't say it's the best show on TV currently, although it is the most captivated I've been by one in some time. However, I just can't get over just how weird and eccentric and just avant-garde this show is.
You know you can tell me anything, right?
Of course.
It's really interesting. In terms of its presentation, it's as cut and dry as shows come. Now, when I say avant-garde, this isn't a show that's presented all like art housey. There isn't just a bunch of like silent characters doing nothing and like weird shots of the moon or something. This is a show that is full of just characters talking, but the conversations time and time again leave you unsettled and confused and uncomfortable and just constantly on this side of like, am I meant to be laughing? Am I meant to be concerned? Like, what is going on? All right, sorry for the bad audio, but I'm back. I totally forgot to mention the weird parody that Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder did of the Anyone But You promo.
Check out the new trailer for my new movie.
My new show.
It's actually my movie.
We'll see whose movie it is when it comes out.
Okay. Check out the trailer for our new movie, Anyone But You. Now.
Better?
Just play the trailer.
Oh my god.
Enjoy.
I found this situation not exactly like hysterically funny, but there's some weird humor in the fact that he basically saw this weird, awkward, clumsy promo clip that Sydney Sweeney and the co-star of Anyone But You did.
Check out the new trailer for my new movie.
My movie.
It's actually my movie.
We'll see whose movie it is when it comes out.
Okay. Check out the new trailer for our new movie, Anyone But You. Now. Better?
Just play the trailer.
And basically went, oh, our show is the complete opposite. Me and Emma Stone have no sexual tension, no sexual chemistry, are just totally uncomfortable. And we're basically going to parody it one for one and then tell them that they copied us. It's a really funny joke. It's obviously going to get an audience of people that would not show any interest in The Curse talking about The Curse. And I think the reason I find this funny isn't the actual like parody itself. That's kind of impressive. There's some humor in seeing Nathan Fielder just be so awkward compared to Giga Chad in the Anyone But You promo.
Better?
Just play the trailer.
But I think the real thing I find funny is that in that clip, it's like, oh, they're like awkward and they're making fun of Anyone But You. Maybe I'll check out The Curse and see these two leads. And then you watch The Curse and it's just weird vibrator scenes and uncomfortable arguments and just like social dysfunction. I guess I find this situation of just like picking a piece of media that is so just completely the opposite of the show you've created and just like picking a humorous fight. On top of that, then Nathan Fielder, called them out for copying, and then the director or producer of Anyone But You went, oh, we're so sorry. So everyone's in on the joke. It is kind of funny, and like, I don't know, it like scratches a weird itch in my brain where it's not like hysterical, but I kind of admire the balls to do it. And I'm sort of like left similarly to the show sitting there going, am I meant to be laughing? Am I meant to be uncomfortable? What was the point of that? And in that way, it does kind of capture the spirit of the show. Now, the first episode I was really impressed by because for a pilot episode, there were just so many ideas thrown at you. There was all this stuff about eco homes, and then there was all this stuff about gentrification, and then there was all this stuff about tiny penises, and then there was the weird vibrator sex scene that came on halfway through the episode. Now, episode 2 had less big conceptual heady ideas, but it was still kind of unwrapping and exploring ideas of like white guilt. There was also the pregnancy subplot that they bring up, as well as the weird art show. Now that we're up to episode 3, the choice that this show makes in terms of where it focuses its attention is constantly keeping you on your toes. You'll get caught up in Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone's dynamic only to then spend 5-10 minutes with characters that you've only seen for 20 seconds previously. That's what I sort of find avant-garde about this show. For a scripted A24 show, a company that's normally known for really clinical and polished productions, this show feels incredibly loose. The way the camera is framed, you're almost meant to feel like you're peeping into people's lives. There is not a scene in in this show where you can just go, oh, that guy crushed it. Oh, that was so cool. Like nothing. It is constantly just social dysfunction. Every single scene of dialogue or characters interacting is meant to have you as an audience member going, okay, who's trying to get what here? What are they actually trying to achieve compared to what they're actually telling the other character? Nathan Fielder in the first episode gets cursed by a young girl after giving her some money for charity and then quickly asking it back to give her less money. Emma Stone's character then asks him to go give her the money. He then lies to her saying that he found her when in fact he didn't. He just gave it to another random homeless person. Ever since that inciting incident, this curse has been brought up as a point of discussion time and time again. In episode 3, for example, Emma Stone meets this young lady and the young lady says to Emma Stone, oh, I cursed you guys. It's like a TikTok trend. You know, I made the chicken come out of your meal. Now, Nathan Fielder obviously seems really concerned because he knows that he didn't go back and actually give the money. And Emma Stone seems less fazed. My only read on why she would be less fazed in this scene is because she's under the impression that the curse was somewhat resolved. And I guess it's just really interesting because Emma Stone was the one that was initially really paranoid trying to get Nathan Fielder to resolve this curse. And now he's the one that's really like hung up and confused and like can't let the chicken thing go. With the titular curse itself, I can't tell whether that's meant to be a misdirect, whether there's nothing supernatural going on and it's just these characters' paranoia leading them to their inevitable conclusion regardless, or whether there is actually something karmically, supernaturally going on. The scenes where this show really shines aren't these sort of big, heady, conceptual, almost sci-fi concepts. It's not the paranoia curse concepts, as interesting as I found that whole like chicken mystery thing. The place where this show really shines, again with Nathan Fielder, are these like uncomfortable, painful social interactions.
What the fuck are you doing, Ash?
Are you afraid to get a little wet? Just get Gatorade. Just joking around. Come on. Okay, look, we're even. We're even. Look, more on me than it's on you. So, just joking around.
This is a show that is clearly trying to kind of analyze our relationship with the camera, something that Nathan Fielder has done in Nathan For You, and especially in The Rehearsal. And now with this show, it's not a reality TV show, but there are so many points where the framing feels like security footage. It just doesn't feel cinematic and like pretty. It feels really uncomfortable. It constantly feels like you are invading these characters' most private moments. For example, the scene in episode 2 where Nathan Fielder needs to get some documents off a computer and get the guy out of the room. He basically just decides, all right, I'm gonna like spill some Gatorade on him. And the humor here is that he goes to spill the Gatorade on him in reaction to like a funny clip and actually misses. And then he needs to like awkwardly pick the bottle back up and just kind of like pour it on him to get him out of the room.
What the fuck are you doing, Ash?
Are you afraid to get a little wet?
I find with scenes like this, I'm sort of seeing they're going, what on earth is going through the other guy's head? But we already know that Nathan Fielder as a character is someone who consistently rubs people the wrong way. We've seen this in episode 1, we've seen this in episode 2, and in episode 3, there's actually a test room screening watching his pilot show, basically saying that, yeah, they don't like him, he's not hot, he gives them the ick, he's just uncomfortable. Consistently watching Asher, Nathan Fielder's character, try and be this master manipulator and this master tactician, and seeing how he gets mixed results consistently, I find really compelling.
So let's talk about us, okay? Look at me when I'm talking to you, okay? Don't look at her.
There are points where he seems totally in control and in command, and other points where he's just completely losing it. And the scene with Emma Stone with the vibrator in the first episode makes me wonder whether the dynamic that they're trying to explore is one where Nathan Fielder, whether he knows it or not, constantly vying for Emma Stone's affection, admiration, and validation. The interesting thing in episode 2 is we actually find out through various scenes of dialogue that Nathan Fielder's character is actually quite intelligent, quite cunning, and very competent. In the scenes with the casino, we learn that he sort of came up with this lighting fixture that basically creates the illusion that the night or the day or time hasn't passed as quickly as it has to gamblers, basically, and making them stay in the slot machines for longer and therefore spend more money. He also created a system where they have these wristbands that are basically like Apple Pay, and they can just keep paying and paying for more goes and more goes without actually ever having to look at how much money they're spending. These are ideas that, while sinister, while evil, are incredibly smart and are shown to work. In the show's universe, they validate that they work. So when he comes back to the casino to get another job as a way in to get these documents and goes, oh, why don't we set up like a sort of childcare facility in the casino? On top of that, they can learn babies' first slot machines while the parents are playing slot machines. Yeah, it's evil. Yeah, it's nihilistic. Yeah, it's sinister. But also, I found episode 2 interesting because in the first episode, it set up that Emma Stone was really competent and really well put together, and Nathan Fielder was kind of the one fumbling the bag and sort of like socially not there. And I found in episode 2, the interesting thing was it kind of shifted that. It showed that Nathan Fielder, almost separate from Emma Stone in his own little world, can crush it. And Emma Stone in that episode was actually shown to have a bit more insecurity. It is explored that she is constantly seeking validation for her artistic accomplishments. And clearly out of the two of them is the one that's way more concerned with her own image and white guilt. And I think it's really interesting watching how these two people kind of transfer their insecurities onto each other until it like blows them all up, which is when we get to episode 3's big kind of blowout argument where they're trying to recreate an intimate moment they had. The thing I find interesting about this section is she clearly did not like the first encounter. When he was trying to get the jumper off her, she was clearly getting frustrated and annoyed and just, can you get this off please? Getting quite short with him, quite annoyed. But then when the relief comes, when they both start actually genuinely laughing when the jumper gets off, she wants to recreate that moment. And it's interesting because you watch Nathan Fielder, who was the one that was trying to have a good moment in that initial moment, is really uncomfortable in front of the camera. And she keeps pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. They then get in this really interesting argument where Nathan Fielder is basically bothered by the fact that she doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt in regards to a comment that could have come off culturally insensitive, and it just blows up. Now, the thing I find interesting about this scene is Nathan Fielder, out of the two of them, is not really the one that has a super white guilt complex. He doesn't seem that concerned about appealing to the minorities that they're impacting with their schemes, and he just wants to get on with it and be a good businessman. He's almost been made to care by Emma Stone, and obviously the thing he's arguing isn't really whether he's racist or not. The point he's arguing is that she never validates him. However, with Emma Stone's character, she is actually really hung up on the whole, are you racist? Am I racist? Have we both been culturally insensitive? I just think it's a really interesting moment. And it's an absurd argument. I think this show is just filled with these great absurd conversations that work as these solo short films. Like, you could watch any of these sort of uncomfortable situations, these uncomfortable arguments, and they work really well as little short films. Of the section episode 2 where Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder are working with this local artist and asking her to provide art for their eco homes. They are both just people-pleasing to the absolute max, and she feels that from the jump. Emma Stone belittles Nathan Fielder, basically saying that, like, hey, she can feel your desperation. But the thing is, Emma Stone, throughout that conversation, is coming off equally, if not more, desperate. What they've done with Emma Stone's character, initially presenting her as this really confident, well-composed woman, and then in episode 2 and episode 3, really showing how she feels consistently out of place, both amongst people that do and don't look like her, people that are into art and aren't into art. It's just a really fascinating dynamic that the show's exploring. Her stuff is really interesting, and I'm hoping there's some big payoff here. I loved the section episode 3 where Nathan Fielder happens to buy the home of the person that has cursed him. It's interesting to see just how empathetic he is to their situation. Is he only doing that because he has some paranoia in the back of his head about how this curse is going to go? If it is just because he feels guilty about the initial handling of that money situation, this is putting him way more out of pocket. So it speaks to the power of guilt on these characters. I guess my question is the intention here. If he's doing something overly nice and overly good here, letting them stay in this home and squat as long as they possibly can, draw it out, and only having them pay the absolute bare minimum, is it a nice thing to do if it's coming from a place of guilt, or if it's coming from a place of self-preservation and this paranoia that there is a curse going on? In regards to the curse itself, the show is titled The Curse, but I'm hoping there's like some profound point here where it's like, they're just doing it to themselves. If not, I'm really curious as to how the actual like spiritual curse or whatever is going to be explained, and whether it's just a product of self-fulfilling paranoia. I do love the idea also that the whole curse thing was like a TikTok trend. It's a really interesting idea, and it really sort of makes us as audience members who are dying to see whether there is actually a curse going on kind of feel like idiots. At that point, I felt stupid, but then similarly with Nathan Fielder, the whole chicken thing, I was like, ooh, what's going on there? I just find this show fascinating. I don't think there's anything like it on TV. I tried to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but also giving you as much sort of like interest as possible. But if you're not watching it, watch it. There's 10 episodes in total. We're 3 episodes in. Just do it. It's uncomfortable, it's weird, but like I can't recommend it enough. Anyways, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching and have a lovely day, guys.